Hey there. So, my next guest proves just how quickly you really can get into the esports space. He was president of his club in college, and 6 months after graduating, he's working for an esports company. 3 months after that, he's now the partner director for the company, and he's able to get in touch with people. He's learning the industry, he's growing in the space, he's helping to transform the esports landscape. It's really cool how quickly he was able to do this and what he's doing. I know you're all going to love it. Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the Gamerpreneur podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Bradford Carlton. Today, I have a very special guest with us. I have Michael Slandzicki. Hi there, Michael. How's it going?
Hey, pretty good. How about yourself?
Did I get that right?
Yeah, you got it right.
Whoa, all right. I'm doing fantastic. It's a beautiful sunny day in Las Vegas. How about yourself?
Pretty snowy here in Tennessee. So,
all right. Well, we won't talk about that because, it's everybody I've talked to this week it's under snow and ice.
yeah, exactly. Pretty much quarantine 2.0, except, different version.
That's right. All right. So, Michael, I like getting the show started just right into it. So, why don't you begin by just telling us a little bit about yourself, please?
Okay, so my name is Michael Slandzicki. I am the partner manager for AVGL, which is a collegiate esports organizer, as well as high school. I kind of found my background in esports started with the University of Tennessee. I founded the esports program there. I was the club president. And, I've always had a passion for esports and kind of ended me up where I am right now.
I love it. All right. So we got a lot to talk about. Before we do, I start every interview with a single question. So I'm going to ask you, just like I ask everybody else, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being high, how weird are you, Michael?
I would say I'm probably a 4. I'm really not that exciting. But I probably do have some quirks.
I appreciate that answer. I really do. It seems like everybody who comes on my show is like, they try to go high, like, okay.
Yeah.
But 4, I say I'm 5 myself. So
yeah,
middle of the road.
exactly.
All right. Now, this is the Gamerpreneur podcast, so I do need your gaming cred. When did you first start playing video games, Michael?
Oh, gosh. So my dad brought home a Nintendo 64 when I was probably about 4 years old. I had, I think, like Clash, Bandicoot, some like OG Smash Brawl for the Nintendo 64, and then from there I played PC for a little bit, and then really got into gaming when I got an Xbox 360, probably about sixth grade.
Okay. And I'm assuming your love of gaming continued.
Yes, of course. So all throughout high school, I built my first PC when I was in high school. And then from there, became the president of the University of Tennessee Esports Club. And I played competitively for Rocket League, League of Legends, Overwatch. Pretty much you name it, I played it. And I know I haven't stopped. So.
All right. And what do you play today, if anything?
So today I play a lot of Rocket League, still a lot of League of Legends, and I dabble in some battle royales like Apex, PUBG, and some Call of Duty Warzone, but those are probably the heavy hitters.
It's all about the competition for you, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
All right. If you had to pick one game out of all of your gaming experience as your all-time favorite, which one is it?
So I would honestly say Halo Reach on Xbox 360.
That's a unique one.
That's some nostalgia for me. That's kind of like, that was my first console really that I purchased. The first game that I really owned for myself. And that was really the only game I had for the Xbox besides Skyrim. So I played the crap out of Halo Reach and Forge World specifically. So.
All right, I love it. Now let's get over to the preneur part. You said you're partner manager. You went straight from college straight into this position?
Kind of. There's like some on and off about 6 months between graduating and then landing this position. So after graduating, I had kind of two part-time jobs. One was like a maintenance position, and then the other one, I actually worked with a company called Esports Arena, who I don't know if you're familiar with them, but they host kind of tournaments, but at LAN centers, and they have a couple throughout the U.S. So I was a store manager there for a little bit, and then whilst trying to get rid of my maintenance job, I stumbled upon, or I had really known about AVGL for a while now, all throughout college, but saw that they were hiring or looking for a community manager type position. Applied and started there part-time, as well as working part-time at Esports Arena. And then about 2 months, 3 months later, kind of got picked up to be full-time with AVGL. So
Fantastic. All right. Did you always know you were going to go into esports?
I think so. Starting out in college, I was in computer science. Computer science kicked my butt and realized that it wasn't for me. So I went down the business marketing path, and really discovered that I can still be involved in esports, but on the business side and not necessarily the hard coding part, but still the promotional and marketing part of it.
Okay. But when was it you made that decision? So you're president of the club, and then 6 months after you leave, yeah, you're trying to, but was it during school? Was it, when you were in high school? Was it like in that no man's land between graduating and getting the first position?
It was probably freshman year of high school. I wanted to be, like a game. Sorry, did I say high school? I meant college. Um, but freshman year of college, I wanted to be, computer programmer type for video games themselves. But it wasn't until sophomore year that I really discovered I liked the more social aspect of video games.
Okay,
So,
wonderful. Now, your current position, your partner manager, what does that mean? What do you do?
so partner manager for me is like being a community manager. I organize a lot of tournaments that we host for Scholastic Esports, as well as reach out to different companies to help support some sponsorships, as well as trying to bring on third parties to use our platform for their esports tournaments.
Okay. And how did you get that particular position? Because you said you were community manager before, but now you're reaching out to larger organizations. It's kind of a sales position. Like, did you ever expect that?
So going into it, the reason why AVGL was looking for, partner manager was for a program called Intel Inspires. And Intel Inspires was in course in collaboration with Intel and AVGL to bring a pipeline from youth to pro, um, and kind of build that pipeline. And I was kind of responsible for a lot of recruitment of coaches and getting coaches involved there. So that's talking to, the schools themselves, letting them know about Intel Inspires and how they can be involved, and that these high school students are going to be participating in Intel Inspires, and they have the opportunity to actually recruit them to their program the next year.
Okay.
So,
Now, what makes you good at this position? Because there's tons of people who want to get into esports, and you've got a pretty decent position somewhere. So, like, is it a unique skill, talent? Like, what makes you good?
um, I would say I have a pretty vast majority of most esport titles. The ones that I'm really lacking are would be like Smash and more of the fighting games. But anything that's really competitive, I've probably at least touched it at some point in time and, have hosted a tournament for. And with that, it's just the adaptability of, going from one game to the other. How can we make a tournament for this happen? And a lot of that knowledge is kind of transferable game to game, especially when it comes to tournament formats.
Okay, so the programs that you're pushing here, are they focused more on people playing the sports, or is it more of the ecosystem?
I would say it's both. So we want to be a platform. So AVGL is a platform, like it's a tournament platform like Smash.gg, Battlefy, etc. Um, we want to be a place where gamers can come find tournaments to compete in, be recognized for their skills, as well as earn scholarships and build their future careers through esports.
Okay, wonderful. How did you learn to do this job? Like, you use computer science background, and now you're you're administrative, you're an executive at a company here in a way. So like, is that anything you ever expected, and how did you kind of fill into the role?
Um, so I've been with AVGL for about 9 months now. Um, and at first, it's really slow. It's more of a startup. So some background, Boom TV acquired AVGL, I think back in fall of 2019. And then they together are now trying to lead the influencer and scholastic market. And so it's really just kind of been a startup situation. So I've been able to kind of, lead some ideas with different experiences that I've had. And so I think that's just kind of how I've been able to put myself in the position that I'm in.
Just be yourself. I love it.
Yeah.
All right. So, Michael, part of the purpose of my show is that I want my audience to watch you and go, man, this sounds really cool. Like, I would love to be able to get into a position like he does. What advice do you have for anybody out there, like in that situation?
For me, I would say start with a passion project. Mine was with PUBG and also just, becoming the president for University of Tennessee Esports Club. So find your niche, stick with it, be committed to it, and then just roll with it. Um, so I mean, that's pretty much it. Just have an experience and build something that you can put on your resume, um, and make sure that you're enjoying it.
Okay. So it's fantastic you have this position, but I'd like you to go back in time with me. Like we're actually going to rewind the clock. And I'd like you to go back and be talking to little Michael when he's first getting into college. And he's got these hopes, these dreams, these ambitions, and you kind of know the path he's going to take. But if you could tell him something that would change his future for the better, what advice would you give to yourself?
That's a tough question. Um, I would say my my parents were always like kind of uneasy about like video games, playing video games all the time. What's really going to come of that? And my goal, even back then, and I would go back in time and tell my little self this, to just continue doing what you love, leave out the haters, and prove everyone wrong who says that you can't do this.
Okay.
So,
What challenges have you faced in doing this position?
a lot of challenges would be, so working remote is one challenge in and of itself, um, and trying to manage. I mean, not just me. I don't manage like a whole lot of people, but as a company, um, everyone's on different time zones, and we are also an international company, uh, meaning that our dev team's actually based out in Vietnam. So they work during the evening, where our events team works during the daytime here. Um, so just the whole time management aspect and coordinating with everyone is probably the most difficult aspect of my job.
Okay. Where do you see this company going?
Um, I want it to be honestly the leader in esports. So Boom TV is kind of the foundation for influencer tournaments. We've had multiple Code Red events, all stemming from Dr. Disrespect. Um, and then AVGL just being the leader in Scholastic in high school and college, being able to build pipelines through Intel Inspires that give students the opportunity to go to college as well as continue their careers after college in esports.
Okay. Do you consider yourself a leader, Michael?
I would.
All right. What makes a leader?
I would, someone who's very kind of professional, puts themselves out there professionally, um, knows how to handle certain situations in the right manner, in the right aspect, and just you know be yourself, especially when talking to other people and doing a lot of cold calls. Um, it's always, a person on the other end. Handle it how you would want someone to be reaching out to you as someone who's cold calling. So.
That's a fantastic answer. And I would add quick on your feet because you were not prepared for that question.
Try and be, right?
Right. Okay. So, Michael, I want to be a little more personal if possible, because I believe that we learn the most in our life from our failures, not necessarily our successes. Because when you succeed, you may not quite know what happened. It might have been luck. There's a lot of factors that go into it. But when you fail, you know that you did something wrong and you have to look at it. You got to be able to move past it in order to succeed the next time. So I'd like to ask you, what do you consider your biggest failure in life and what did you learn from it?
If we're going back to school, I could say accounting, but I won't go down that road. um, I would say just being taking more time to spend time with kind of the people around me and not just being involved in video games, day in and day out. I think it's healthy. And for me personally, I just need to take a step back from the screen and, go outside, go on walks, hikes, and even, I'd like to do some travel, like alone, within the next year or so. I know that's kind of been shut down for a little bit, but that would be one of the things that I'd like to do.
Okay, wonderful. Now, what's something you're working to improve on yourself today?
Um, I would say just so I'm getting married in June, actually.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So for me, I'm always trying to work on my relationship with my fiance, and how to, how I can support her and vice versa. So she's actually started her own bakery, kind of a startup as well. And for me, it's just being able to support her in the ways that I can and the skills that I can, um, you know, with marketing and stuff like that. So.
Wonderful. That's fantastic. All right, one more kind of fun question before we bring this in for a landing, huh? What is something that you think people misunderstand about you the first time they meet you?
They probably don't know that I'm actually a gamer. So I don't really tout myself as a gamer. Like I won't go out there and say, oh, I play video games all the time. Um, I'm more of like yeah, I'm cool. I don't really touch that until someone actually knows me and I like explain to them that, oh, I play video games. It's pretty fun. They probably wouldn't know that about me.
Is that because you're ashamed? Or like, what is it?
I
Why?
Yeah, I don't know if it's I'm ashamed or if it's just like finding that common interest with someone who's new. I think video games for a lot of people is more common than it has been in the past. Um, but I think it's just different than what a lot of people have traditionally seen as a career or even as just like a hobby. So.
Certainly. All right, Michael, this has been a fantastic interview. How do people find you? Where are you at on social media, contact information, all that, please?
Yeah, so you can find me on Twitter, Discord. My tag is Slands_NA on Twitter and Slands on Discord. But you can find me in the AVGL Discord and just DM me there. So
Okay. Is that with a Z?
it is with a Z. Yep.
Okay. All right, beautiful. Now, as we wrap this up, do you have any final thoughts you want to share or anything I didn't ask you think we still need to cover?
No, but I've really enjoyed this interview. What you're doing is really cool. I think to bring exposure to esports and especially the gamer community. So thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And I really do appreciate you coming on today. So thank you.
Awesome.
All right. And for everybody else, I'm going to remind you all, don't be just a gamer, be a gamerpreneur.